Hello, good morning.
Morning.
It'll be November 1st tomorrow, but I just wanted to introduce you to my dear, dear friend and brother, Jim Fielder, who wrote the book Space for Grace that I was regularly reading and will resume, or Jim will resume the readings. But we're up here in Hull, England, with everybody's adorable accents, and we got to see historic Hull town. And we're here with a couple other wonderful friends. It's just been so healing and heartwarming. And also just from my heart, thank you again, Jim, for everything you've done for my mom and I, especially when my dad was passing. You just have meant a lot to my family.
Well, it's a great opportunity to say thank you to everyone, but particularly to Cheryl, who I love very much, and to the Little Grace Fellowship family and others that are in touch in quite constant numbers and growing numbers. And the emphasis is obviously on growing in grace, because the theme of the book, Space for Grace, is in the hope that we all have made space in our lives for the grace of God through Christ Jesus. This November, we have a little introduction just for a minute, so if you bear with me. And it's on the theme for the month of growing in grace. So how do you do that? 2 Corinthians 13:5 from the Berean Study Bible says, "Examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Can't you see for yourselves that Jesus Christ is in you? Unless you actually fail the test." This doesn't mean we should be constantly grading our performance in some kind of spiritual roadworthiness test to determine if we are good or bad Christian. Maybe that's what we were used to. But rather, Paul wants us to know confidently that Christ is in us. We have this assurance of Christ in us salvation because of what Christ has done. Of course, we desire to grow in this grace, to mature. So this month we will take a look at the Spirit's evidence of our salvation in such qualities as faith, love, holiness and humility. And we could refer to Colossians 1:10 or 2 Corinthians 3:18, which while I was a witness used to be one of my favourite scriptures. But I'll leave up to you to read as homework. Do you still have a tendency to follow knowledgeable men? We're going to cover that during the month. How do you manage suffering in your life and helping others? We're going to touch on that. And thirdly, how do you share the good news? So there's 3 ways we can grow in grace, and along with many more. And for those who follow a daily Bible reading schedule, this month our schedule takes us to the letters of Paul from 1 Corinthians to 2 Corinthians, where grace is elevated. Also we shall see how grace works in the life of Job and Esther. So that's just an introduction. I'll catch up with you again.
Thanks, Jim. And also we were just discussing the importance, because at least for me it's easy, the more we're away from Watchtower organization and we go about meeting local Christians and fellowshipping with just our neighbors in general at the local level, it's healing. And I think it's important, at least for me, to remember that there are people exiting the organization every day, like right now. And you read a little anonymous note that you had received via email of someone who, it was a reminder to me, like, feeling lost. Where do I go? Am I all alone? Because I know when I first left it, you just feel like, whoa, what do I do now? And that's, of course, why I ended up, scouring YouTube and whatever to just see if there were other people who understood me, like knowing that we're understood, that we're not alone. So I am going to put dear brother Jim Fielder's email in the description and in the comment section, and he has graciously offered to check his emails and be in contact with people as much as your schedule permits.
Yeah, and I think too, just as a codicil to this, that this weekend gathering with just 5 of us together, and we're in the hotel before you depart, has been wonderful, and the Lord has brought this together, I'm sure, for different reasons, but I enjoyed it. And it's made my resolve, although emails and text messages are so good, if it's possible, is it possible for you where you live to meet face to face with someone, maybe half an hour away, an hour away? It's worth the trip just for a discussion and a cup of tea, just to get to know each other, and or in my case, to phone a little bit more as time permits. Even if it's a 5-minute phone call, I know this has been out to an hour, but it makes hearing somebody's voice and having a laugh together and sharing their ups and downs rather than a stilted text or an email. It just is that next step, do you think, Ali?
Absolutely.
And I think this weekend that's proved that to me.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, and to be able to just give you a hug.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
See y'all,
Let's do
and
it.
we'll start resuming Space for Grace.
Good.
Bye for now.